All right. I'm working on some of that tedious little stuff that I got to get done. And basically it's like all the little tabs, the brake tabs, brake line holders, all that little stuff. Some of it I'm not going to do until I get it painted. But a lot of it I can do and should do now before it's painted. And that's just the stuff that requires welding. Basically what I'm welding on are these little, I guess, bulkhead tabs. And there'll be the brake connector that goes into it with a nut that locks it onto this. This will be welded on to the truck. And then I'll put my quick disconnect on the other end of it, and that'll go out to the caliper. So there's a few comments about those brake disconnects. Some guys were like, oh, they won't withstand the beating. But you know, I'm gonna argue that because I got the idea for motorcycles. And the motorbike guys have been running them for a long time. And I don't know of anything more abusive to anything than a motorcycle. So I'm gonna see how they work. I think that's good enough there. The thing will be here. Well, let me scoot it back a little. It'll be here. Caliper will be here. I want lots of room for travel. The quick disconnect will be here. Can you guys see? I got my robot thing going. Let me turn it off. Here we go. The quick disconnect will be here. Well, let me grab one. Here's the quick disconnect, and it'll go on like this. And then a 90 off of that, and then the cable will come out to the caliper. And that's plenty of room for when it swings in, when we turn. So I think right there would be good. Yeah. And if you haven't seen these, it's just a dry brake valve, and it cam locks together. So we can disconnect this if we have a brake failure or we got to swap out a caliper or anything without losing any fluid or introducing any air. On the other end, we'll have the calipers pre-bled, right? They'll have fluid in them. Just hook it up. Okay, so I'm gonna put that there. There'll be another one in the back here. This will be hard lined, tucked in on the back side of the control arm. And then it'll go to a flex line to the T. And then the T will go up to the master cylinder. On the back, it's gonna go from the master cylinder to a proportioner to a handbrake. To help with cornering, and then the dry brakes or whatever, quick disconnects. So yeah, I was sitting around thinking like it's not much to do. Kind of ran to a dead spot on cashmere. You'll see in the video later that I was doing some work on cashmere. But I got to order some bolts for that. And halfway through filming, my microphone, because it's got a magnet. There's a magnet on this thing, and it got attached to the ground. I walked by or something, and it clicked off of me and clicked onto this. And so half the video I was walking around, you guys couldn't hear me. I didn't know it. Nobody said anything. So I don't know how that video will show now. You'll see it. That was easy. Got the back ones on, the front ones. So T hardline, T hardline. So that's good there. And then, so the upper link. Yeah, so these here, the brake line will come through. The back one's going to come through the center tunnel. And then run right along in here. I guess I could put a tab there, and then it'll 90 down. This will be a flex line to another 90, and they'll just zip tie down the upper link. You still following me? That thing's weird. It's kind of creepy. I'm gonna put the fuel pumps right in here. The top of the fuel tank will be about here. I decided, I know earlier in the video, you might have saw that I said I was going to go with 63 gallons. And then I was on the fence immediately, almost talked myself out of it to go to the 90. So I'm thinking I'm going to split the difference, and I'm going to bring the tank up here, and it'll put me right around 75. And then the fuel pumps will be mounted inside here. So they'll be well protected. And I'll have over 70 gallons of fuel. The main reason I'm thinking that is because the tires are going to be here, and the fuel fill is going to have to be pretty high, and it needs to be able to dump into the top of the tank. So if I split the difference and I go like 70, 75 gallons, it doesn't put the tank up so high that the fuel fill's got to be really high. It's still low enough that guys will be able to reach it to plug in and still get some fuel capacity out of it. Anyway, that's kind of what I'm thinking. I gotta climb in here. I got myself jammed in here now. There's the fuel pumps. I'm going to get rid of this crappy ass Corvette fuel filter regulator thingamajigger. It didn't flow enough fuel, period. I know it was recommended to use, but I think we were starving the motor. And I really think we were running too lean, because my headers were getting glowing hot and our engine temps just seemed a little too high. So I think we were running a lean condition, and I messed up and got ahead of myself and did not plug in the OBD2 to run any codes and see any diagnostics of what we were running. So that's a bummer. Oh man, that fell well down in there. All right, I'm gonna try to get it.
A few moments later.
There we go. See? I'll forget it's under there, and then I'll end up spending more money trying to buy another one. I don't need to. All right. To the motor. Ooh, this stuff stinks. Oh, that smells bad, huh? This is the post pump. All right, let me get rid of, let me get some crescent wrenches and get rid of that. Like I said, the headers were glowing, and I couldn't figure out why, but I'm pretty sure it's because the fuel was lean. See if the gasoline takes that waxy shit. Oops, my wires. It doesn't smell too bad. This is the thing I'm talking about. I'm a piece of shit. Oh yeah, gasoline takes it off. Julie's not gonna let me use gasoline. She will freak out. Although, I was raised using gasoline to clean car parts for my dad. Oh, there we go. I'm probably missing a few brain cells because of that, but turned out okay. And the car parts got clean. Yeah, if I can get all this little tedious stuff done, and then it'll just get us that closer to the finish line. Oh, get skinny. Ugh. Oh, another thing about this waxy stuff, it gets on your clothes. Crawling around in it, it gets on your clothes. Makes it a real mess. So I'm thinking of putting it right there. Can you see? Yeah. If I do it like this, we can still get to it to replace them. Either right over the top of the fuel tank or take this upper deck off. Yep, everything's super accessible. I think I like it. I don't want it up here because guys crawl around up here. Shoot. Some of this stuff takes 50 steps of previous stuff to do before you get to actually what you want to do. Let me show you what I got here. So this plate here, it was part of the mounting bracket on the old truck. It was bolted to the bottom of the fuel pumps like this. And then this bolted to the plate that was in the truck. And it was just actually, yeah, it was like that. And you know, the theory was if we needed to remove the fuel pumps, we just undo these 4 bolts and pull it out. But the location of where these 4 bolts needed to be, it was a real pain because you got the pumps in the way and whatnot. So what I'm gonna do is I've got this, it looks like 3/16 aluminum. I'm gonna make a new plate that moves these mounting holes out here so they're easy to get to. And I've got this channel, and I'll weld in crossbars that the aluminum plate will bolt to. The crossbars will be welded in with the channel. They'll be welded in, and I'll just put studs on those so that aluminum plate can just slip over the studs and then bolt it down. And then if we ever need to remove, when we need to remove the whole fuel system, it's just 4 bolts and the whole thing comes out. Okay, we got it. Bolted on there, should work just fine. You see that? Let me get you up in there like this. There we go. All right, that'll work good. So, all right.